The program didn't have my name. Not under siblings, not in the thank yous, not even in the family bio. Harvard Yard, May sun, red robes, flashbulbs, applause. And me, standing 3 rows back like a stranger at my own sister's coronation. When the photographer waved "family only," my mother gently placed her hand on my chest. Not in anger, not even shame, just dismissal. Like I was an afterthought they'd finally deleted. And that's when I realized they'd been planning this for months. It started small. Missed calls, cold silences. My birthday forgotten 3 years in a row. At first I blamed myself. Too busy with work, too many late nights at the firm. Maybe I hadn't called enough. Maybe I wasn't enough. But then came the wedding. My sister's, of course. No invite, no call, just a blurry photo of champagne flutes on Instagram, captioned, "Finally married my best friend." Still, I swallowed it, because that's what I was trained to do. Keep my head down, work harder, don't cause trouble. But at graduation, seeing my name erased from a printed booklet that listed even our dog, I stopped swallowing. 6 weeks later, I got the call from my cousin Hannah. She was crying. "They changed the will," she said. "The lake cabin, your father left it to Rachel." I laughed, sharp, bitter. Of course he did. That cabin was my childhood, my first fishing rod, my mother's humming in the kitchen, my dad teaching me how to row before I could ride a bike. Rachel hated it, always said it smelled like dead trees and boredom. But it was worth nearly $1 million now, post-renovation, prime real estate. And apparently, they decided the disgraced daughter didn't deserve a dime of it. They thought I'd just fade out. But I don't disappear. I wait. Then I move. The first thing I did was request the revised will. Hannah was right. Everything, stocks, house, cabin, heirlooms, reassigned to Rachel. I was mentioned once. No further claim to property shall be acknowledged. Cold, clinical, but careless, because they didn't count on 2 things. 1, I was a probate attorney. 2, I knew something they didn't. Dad had gifted me partial ownership of the cabin 10 years ago, back when I was still the good kid. He'd done it casually, after I helped him fight a zoning dispute on the land. "Just in case," he said, handing me the notarized form. "You earned it." I still had the original deed, signed, filed, legal. But they'd either forgotten or hoped I had. Either way, it was mine now. And I don't mean sentimentally, I mean legally. I didn't call them, didn't scream, didn't beg. I filed. Petition for partition and sale. In simple terms, force liquidation of the property and take my half in cash. If they refused, the court would order a sale anyway. It wasn't revenge yet, not quite, but it was the first domino. They lawyered up fast. My mother sent a letter through counsel. "We request a private resolution in honor of family." Funny, family hadn't been mentioned in years. I declined. Her attorney called it harsh. I called it overdue. Their defense was weak. Turns out Rachel had paid the property taxes for 1 year and thought that gave her some divine right to ownership. It didn't. What it gave me was leverage. Discovery phase unearthed more. Dad had diverted trust funds, originally intended for me, to fund Rachel's wedding, her grad school, even part of her husband's failed app startup. Receipts, transfers, emails. It was a buffet of betrayal. I used it all, not out of spite, out of strategy. Because sometimes justice wears a suit, not a sword. 6 months after Harvard, we were in court. Rachel looked nervous. Mom wore her pearls like armor. Dad didn't show. I wore navy, hair up, calm. The judge, an older woman with no time for nonsense, read the document slowly. "Miss Alden," she said, eyes on me, "you're asserting ownership based on this signed deed?" "Yes, Your Honor. Original copy, notarized, dated April 15th, 2015. She nodded. And you're seeking forced sale of the property? Yes. Have you attempted resolution? They attempted erasure, I said evenly. I'm simply responding. A pause. Then, petition granted. The cabin sold for $975,000. After legal fees and Rachel's failed appeals, I walked away with just over $460,000. I used it to pay off my law school debt in full, then bought a condo with lake views of my own. Peaceful, quiet, mine. My mother sends holiday cards now. No notes, just her name in cursive and a photo of her, Rachel, and Rachel's new baby. They always leave a corner of the frame empty, where I used to stand. I'm not angry anymore. I don't need them to say sorry. They can keep their Harvard weekends and curated smiles. Because when they look at the cabin now, empty, sold, gone, they remember what they lost. Me. And I remember what I reclaimed.